Hey y'all, it's your girl. Rest in peace, my granny. She got hit by a bazooka. Every time I think about her, I hit the hookah. Kaboom, kablow, kaboom. I learned that song recently, and I went to visit my friend over the weekend, and I played that song for her no less than 400 times, and she's over it. She's over it, and she says she's blocking me if I keep sending it. But will I stop? Never. Will I stop? Never. Just like the bazooka that got my granny. Welcome. I'm in Heidi Powell's couch for no good reason. I need a new foundation color also. I am a pale girl now, and I have tanned foundation. Just ignore it, okay? Anyways, you know who doesn't have these problems, doesn't have makeup problems, fashion problems, friend problems? Our boy, Jay Shetty. He has unlimited friends. He has unlimited wealth. He has unlimited knowledge that he can steal from. Come up with. And he's still radiating across the globe at a astronomical level. And we're going to talk about him yet again. And I think this is the point of Jay Shetty's career where he is very careful about what interviews he does. He's always been that way. He's the interviewer. You know, he doesn't do other people's podcasts too often. He can't be asked a question. Everything must be curated. And this was a rare moment where Jay Shetty got on a camera and had a semi interested reporter in not just kissing Jay Shetty's ass, but actually possibly trying to get to the bottom of who this guy is as a person and as a personality. So I've seen some clips. I read the transcript. We're going to watch the video. But I think there's a lot to go through with this interview. And it's the first one since the Guardian article came out by John McDermott, who I met actually when I went to LA in the summertime. We hung out and walked the Santa Monica Boulevard, Venice Beach area. Me and Camellia did. And lovely guy. And we talked about Jay Shetty. And we talked about all the influencers. And anyways, but he was the guy who wrote the Guardian piece. He was originally threatened with a lawsuit by Jay Shetty's team, is my understanding. And then it was dropped, or that the lawsuit never happened. Like, that is my understanding of the situation last time I talked to John. So there was not a leg to stand on as far as I could see. Jay Shetty just didn't like the press that he was getting from that article. And nothing really changed in his life, so I could tell. Nothing really changed whatsoever. And so he's been pretty quiet in terms of press since that article came out, like 2 years ago, the Guardian article. And now this is one of his rare moments with the New York Times. So we're going to watch that. But also, there is a tie-in to something else that's gone viral very recently, who was also a subject on this channel once before. Selena Gomez and her now husband, Benny Blanco, they just started, it's not Selena, but Benny Blanco and Lil Dicky, is that his name? And some woman started a podcast. Guess who owns the podcast? None other than Jay Shetty. And the podcast is going viral because Benny Blanco has the dirtiest feet you've ever seen, and also is farting during this podcast. So it's really different and unique, you guys. But Jay Shetty came out of hiding from the press to promote this dumb, weird podcast show / production company that Jay has now launched called Perfect Strangers. So let's start there before we get to the interview. But that is why he's even doing promotional, interviews at all. So yeah, that's what's gone sort of viral as of late, is Benny Blanco farting on camera with his dirty feet on the couch. So hold on. Okay, here's Sloan. I always end up on Sloan's videos. We talk about some of the same things. All right, here you go. So here's Benny Blanco. If you didn't know, he's a music producer. He's married to Selena Gomez. That's all you need to know. And this is labeled Benny Blanco's Disgusting Podcast. Okay, here we go.
Pick this up. It was a little squeak.
Benny Blanco just launched his new podcast, and it is not helping the no showering allegations because he is posted up on the couch over here farting. He's filthy. The title of his new podcast is Friends Keep Secret, and he launched it alongside Lil Dicky, where they interview celebrity guests inside of a home that has cameras everywhere. I'm not sure if Selena has seen the episode. She has been in Cabo hanging out on a yacht with her friends. Remember, Benny Blanco refuses to fly, which is why he's at home, but he did FaceTime her during one of the episodes.
They're filming. I was just saying hi. I love you. I'll call you when we're done.
If you think this is going to
I love you. Bye.
be some thoughtful podcast, just keep in mind we're talking about Lil Dicky and Benny Blanco.
See, like Albert Einstein in motion, because I'm not even sure if he existed. Like he looks so like mythical.
My number one criticism, Benny, is just wash the dogs before you get on camera. It reminds me of that one interview he did with Selena Gomez where he said he does not shower often because he likes to let the juices collect.
Every day. I feel like the oils on your skin don't have like time to like rejuvenate and get juicy. I want there to be an aroma as I'm walking by. Let's see if you guys can pick this up.
There's definitely going to be an aroma when he walks by. Okay, that's the podcast. That's kind of gone viral as of late. Now, let me show you the the ads for this before it came out. The way that Jay Shetty is marketing this podcast. It's like, it's so ridiculous, as they always do. Like, this is not just two celebrities, D-list celebrities, talking on yet another podcast. No, this is special in some way. So he's got a new production company, Jay Shetty, called Perfect Strangers. Okay, so let's start there. And also I see something from Asari Shepherd. Thank you so much, Asari Shepherd. As always, Asari Shepherd says, Selena, it's perfectly fine to be alone.
I love you, Benny Blanco. I love you.
And if you make fun of Selena, people will say it's lupus. But you know what? Loop this ass. I don't know. I don't really like her very much. I don't like Selena Gomez solely for the reason that she is in a feud with the girl or the woman, her best friend at one point, that gave her a kidney. And I think that you should, if a friend gives you a kidney, you must be their friend for life. And like that's it. Like, there really is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There might be a couple instances where I'm like, well, they really crossed the line and they really did something that even the kidney can't fix. But I feel like she should have tried harder to stay friends with the person who gave her a kidney.
Are you friggin' bonker pants?
That's for you, Asari.
No one's come to save us.
Okay, so let me find it. Okay, so here's the Instagram for the new media company. Okay, so he's already got deals with Netflix to make content that's going to change lives. It's going to change lives, you guys. This is really important, really insane and great. Okay, so this was the first ad. Perfect Strangers. It's a production company founded by Jay Shetty, is devoted to telling emotionally resonant stories that remind us we're not alone, spanning across film, television, podcasting, and beyond. We don't just create content, we create moments people talk about. Yeah, Benny Blanco farting with his dirty feet on a couch. And the communities that grow around them. The kind of stories you don't see coming but end up remembering forever. Our projects are dedicated to bold, emotionally resonant, connection-driven storytelling, blending heart, humor, and humanity. Welcome to Perfect Strangers. We're so glad we met. Okay, I don't know what that means, ChatGPT. Okay. Then he's just announcing that he's got this production company. Here's some pictures of New York City, people walking around for some reason. Everyone's perfect strangers, blah, blah, blah. Here's a Variety article with a glamour shot of himself. It says Jay Shetty launches Perfect Strangers production Shingle. I don't know what that means, which has inked Netflix deals for 2 TV series exclusive. One I think is going to be like a documentary, probably about his life in some way, I would guess. And one is supposed to be scripted. And this one says, Perfect Strangers sits at the intersection of emotional intelligence. Okay, again, their first big banger show, Benny Blanco, talking about Albert Einstein's not a real person. And here's a fart that I did. Okay. Perfect Stranger sits at the intersection of emotional intelligence and cultural relevance. We don't just produce content. We create stories that spark connection. Our foundation in film, spirituality, and digital culture allows us to tell stories that are both timeless and timely. Shut the fuck. Yeah, exactly, Taro. You caught it. Okay, so here's their debut piece of content called Friends Keep Secrets, a podcast by Benny Blanco, Lil Dicky, and Kristin Batalucco. Never have seen her before. So here is the concept. 18 hidden cameras. Okay, they're not hidden. There are 18 cameras, one Venice house, a revolving door of Friends. Friends Keep Secrets hosted, blah, blah, blah. Will feature guests like Selena Gomez. Oh, so the wife of one of the hosts. Wow, amazing. Ed Sheeran, Lizzo, no thank you, Paul Rudd, and more. So it's literally like every other celebrity podcast, except there's hidden cameras in this one. Okay. Now here's Jay's selling of it. Ready?
I've got a really big announcement. I'm launching my very own media network called Perfect Strangers, and I want to introduce you to the host of our very first show that's been hard to keep a secret. Come on in. Dave! Hey. How are you? Benny, Dave, Kristin, tell me why you decided to do this show.
Why not?
We have a unique perspective on all different things.
Okay, very exciting marketing material. Why do this podcast? Why not? We have a very unique perspective as 3 out-of-touch celebrities, or at least 2 kind of celebrities, people at least I've heard before, and one person I have no idea where she came from. So yeah, that's a very unique perspective for sure.
I feel so lucky that my 2 best friends are the most entertaining, funniest.
What up, Torrance? Torrance in the house. Hey.
It hurts. It stings.
Welcome, Torrance.
People I've ever met, and I also feel that way about myself. It will really feel like you are hanging out with a group of friends, not sitting in a room in a corner listening to 2 people talk into a condenser microphone.
So you're basically dissing my podcast.
Yeah.
As someone who is, 7 years deep in having a podcast, even though this isn't a podcast, what advice would you give us?
I think what you guys are doing is unprecedented.
Oh.
It's unprecedented. What you guys are doing is unprecedented. Celebrities with microphones talking about their perspective on the world. Wow. Who would have ever thought of that idea? Literally every celebrity that exists today.
I don't think it's been done before.
That's such a monk answer. Friends on 3.
We'll survive it all.
1, 2, 3.
Friends! We'll survive like 2 seasons, I think.
Oh, no, Jay.
I've got a really...
Yeah. Okay. So there's a Hollywood Reporter article. So Kristin Batalucco is Lil Dicky's wife, I guess. Did you know that already? You were aware? Taro knew. Okay, here's the first preview of the episode. Here we go. Unprecedented content. Get ready.
This is the first time we've ever done this. The purpose of today is to understand how this thing works. I'm not calling it a podcast. I wouldn't.
Look, that thing's falling off the wall. The house is falling
Yeah,
apart.
it's because things are taped up because,
We haven't made final decisions.
Yeah, you're going to have to drill into the wall.
What's the rules for gas, pissing?
Oh, please, do whatever you want. Okay, the whole goal here, this entire home is just
see if you guys can pick this up.
I was going to pick up. I like that.
That was just a little.
It was a little squeak, like a little...
The whole Chuck, I didn't realize you were going to be the dictator today.
This is the first time we've ever done this.
Well, there you go. There you go. Emotionally resonant. Showing that strangers are just that, strangers, until you get to meet each other. And this is unprecedented. Okay. Anyways, so that is to set up that Jay Shetty is going on a press tour to promote this said podcast that no one's ever seen before, and also his other production company. Okay. So I think this is just more proof that Jay Shetty is a hack who just will do whatever he thinks will be popular and has no original ideas, but yet will market it as if he's creative and unique in every way possible. Okay, so here's the interview from the New York Times. The doubts Jay Shetty has about himself. Okay, so again, I have not watched this yet. I've only read the transcripts, but just take a look at how polished this background is. This is a Zoom call between, or like a virtual call between the reporter and Jay Shetty. He is lit as if he is, Will Smith delivering a monologue when he's friends with Will Smith. So that's why that came to mind. But he does not do anything where he is not coiffed, made up in a designer sweater that's $5,000 plus, and has every single piece meticulously fashioned behind him so that he looks perfect and is perceived as perfect. And it just is interesting that because I guess this is in his home, I'm assuming, or it's meant to look like his home. Who's to say? But this is not his podcast studio, as far as I can tell. So he's doing this interview very carefully. Okay, here we go.
Truth when it comes to healing is really, really open.
Huh? What does that
Make
mean?
wisdom go viral. That's Jay Shetty's self-proclaimed mission. The YouTuber and podcaster is a giant in the world of wellness and mental health influencers.
Thank you so much for allowing us into your space.
Most favorite interview ever.
Kendall, Jenna. Kendall, thank you.
He's had huge names on his show on purpose. Part of Shetty's success has to do with his message, a breezy blend of pop psychology and self-help tips.
When things are bad, we think they'll be bad forever, and we're wrong.
Overlaid with a reassuring patina of Eastern spirituality. While there's no doubt about Shetty's success, I had other doubts of my own. A 2024 article in The Guardian raised questions about many aspects of Shetty's public life, including accusations of plagiarism on his platforms early.
And all props go to John, but Nicole Arbour, the comedian, who's very controversial in her own right, but she did a video on Facebook about Jay Shetty being a liar and a cheat and a stealer of quotes like 10 years ago now. And I did my video about Jay stealing quotes and, taking ideas like 3-4 years ago now. So the article definitely brought it to the mainstream and I appreciate it. But there was people making accusations way before this.
In his career, and even the extent of his training as a monk. That's reporting that Shetty and his lawyers have disputed, and which we talked about at length in our conversation. So how did a man who espouses monk-like thinking come to live a glamorous life in LA? It's a seeming contradiction that he's apparently been thinking about too.
Yeah, he's been thinking about trying to cover it up.
Here's my conversation with Jay Shetty.
Hey, David.
Hi, Jay. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Sorry, how was your weekend?
It was good. It was mellow. Just stuff with the kids. How about you?
Oh, amazing. It was Grammys week, so very busy, but fun and enjoyable, so it was good.
Grammys week. What the fuck does he have to do with Grammys week? Jay Shetty. Oh, of course. There was a war going on. I had to be at the press conference. What are you doing at the Grammys? He has no musical abilities, as far as I understand. Okay. I had to be at the Pentagon for the press briefing. Sorry. Been really busy. What?
It's funny. I've been watching so much of your stuff for honestly the last 6 weeks or something like that, really trying to immerse myself. And just yesterday, I watched a video of yours that had a segment about how to have difficult conversations. I thought the most useful part of it was that you talked about the being clear about one's own intentions during a conversation. And I think that's a very useful thing. And I feel like my intention with you and with everyone is to just understand as much as I can.
I love that. Well, thank you for sharing that with me. And my intention today is always to try and share myself.
I wouldn't be surprised if this was an AI avatar of Jay Shetty that they've fashioned together. He looks so perfect and not like attractive, but just there's not a hair on his sweater that's out of place. It's eerie.
As authentically as I can.
Good, because I hope I have some hard questions for you. So we'll see how that goes. But for
swallowed.
For people who aren't familiar with you and your work, which of your beliefs would you say are most fundamental to what you do as a sort of wellness self-help influencer? What
You yourself are responsible for all things, and the best way to take responsibility is to give me your money. That would be the truth.
What are you fundamentally trying to teach people about?
I wouldn't even say I'm trying to teach. The 4 things I really am encouraging people to reflect upon are the 4 most important questions I believe that we all have to answer in life. The first is, how do I feel about myself? It's a decision we make every day when we wake up and we look in the mirror. The second is, what do I do for work? What do I do with my time? The third is, who do I choose to love and receive love from? And the fourth is, how do I choose to serve the world? And so all of my work is dedicated.
He chooses to serve the world through capitalism. He could have philanthropy for days, and yet, as far as I can see, he does not do very much, like very minimal amounts of philanthropy, which is odd because you could at this point just make people like you for that reason, like a Bethany Frankel, like I'm gonna do more for Puerto Rico than anyone's ever done and just tout it around. It seems like he doesn't even want to do that. He just doesn't want to give money to anyone but himself. But okay, that could be a misjudgment. Maybe he secretly is like a huge anonymous donor. I doubt it. Based on what he spends his money on typically. But anyways, Nachama Gluck. I never know, and I apologize, how to pronounce. Nachama Gluck. Sending some parasocial love. Do you want to send some parasocial love back? She did. That was cute. Here, I have this for you.
Jeez, this is so good.
I hope this is full of
deep belly laughs.
And also,
This self-heal and deworming community is pretty amazing.
do we think Jay Shetty's in the deworming community?
Sales is love.
I know.
I am not problematic.
I love selling stuff online. I found that quote today, and I put it on the Reddit thread, but I don't know where it is in my soundboard.
I still have dyslexia.
True. Okay, back to it. Thank you, Nachama Gluck.
Dedicated and devoted to helping people reflect on and answer these questions for themselves. So whether someone comes and asks me like, hey Jay, like I really want to find my purpose, or I'm kind of stuck in my job right now, or maybe they're going through a breakup and they're looking for insight on what will help them heal, or someone who says, Jay, your work really, your work helped me.
2 camera setup he's got for this Zoom interview. Interesting. He's got the side profile and a front-on shot.
Through a divorce, or your work stopped me from committing suicide. Like, I think those are the kind of things people usually come to me with. And so that's what I find is usually the kind of questions and reflections and insights that people are looking for from me. And I'm always trying to help them think through those challenges.
And how much do you find the sort of the answers to those questions change depending on the individual circumstances?
Never.
Is it the case that, broadly speaking, the same kinds of answers apply in most circumstances, or
Yes.
it's more the case that, depending on the specific circumstances, the answers to say, how can I find more purpose, or how can I feel better about myself change?
There's two types of wisdom, in my opinion. There's timeless wisdom, universal principles and language that affects all of our hearts and that we all resonate with. And then at the same time, there's very specific, timely advice that we all need in a really difficult moment. And so really it depends on how personally I'm in that space with someone. If someone's at an event of mine and they put up their hand and they're on the microphone, they ask a question, then I get to look in that person's eyes, I get to see their body language, I can ask them a follow-up question. If I'm creating something like a podcast episode, then that's naturally more broad because it's me speaking from one to many. And so
But like he does live events, and from what I've heard about his live events, they are odd. Like he had someone, and I've never been, but I've heard he allegedly had someone go and sit in a box off stage, and there was a camera recording them and how they were fidgeting because they weren't using their phone for a certain amount of time. And then he told, very Tony Robbins-esque, like he told a woman to call her situationship and break up with him right now. Like that's his live show allegedly. So all these people, Rachel Hollis, Jay Shetty, Mel Robbins, Tony Robbins, they play therapist on stage. And I remember watching the Tony Robbins documentary that came out on Netflix like 10 plus years ago now. And someone was saying like, I, want to myself. And he was like, you have red shoes on. And the guy's like, huh? And he's like, see, I distracted you. Now you don't want to do it. And then everyone clapped. And the guy was like, thank you, and then gave the microphone back. It's like, that person needs help. If you're a person standing up in a room of 1,000 at a hotel and you spent 10 grand to be there and you're getting up on the microphone and saying, I want to end my life, like these people are not qualified to deal with that. And it bothers me that the mainstream media and people generally are like, people generally are like, oh yeah, that's great. I should go up and ask Jay Shetty a question. And he feels totally qualified to answer a question about life in general to these people. I just find it frustrating and something that I don't think is going to go away anytime soon, unfortunately. Rocket Dog 7135. Thank you so much, Rocket Dog. That's a cute dog. That's a cute dog with a big tongue. Rocket Dog says, grifter's gonna grift, allegedly. Yeah, you gotta always add that allegedly in there. Because if I wasn't there and saw it with my own eyes, it's alleged. Even if I trust the source, I still wasn't there, so I don't know. They could be lying to me. Me? They could be lying to me. Me?
I have dyslexia so bad.
Yeah.
Boom, another death threat.
Textbook example of cancel culture.
I'm sorry that you don't have a job.
That's what Jay Shetty would say to people on stage. Thank you, Rocket Dog.
For me, it's about being adaptable and being personal and being specific. And so my approach is to always try and meet the person if I really can get to know them and actually be present with them.
So
you can't.
You're kind of to my mind, big differentiator for you, or distinguishing factor, is the fact that you trained as a monk. Your book, of course, was called Think Like a Monk. And specifically, you correct me if I'm wrong, but you trained within the ISKCON movement, which is sort of colloquially known as the Hare Krishna. Is that right?
So I trained as part of the Radha Gopinath and Bhaktivedanta Mana ashrams across India and the UK and Europe. And they are parts of that, yes.
And
he did not like that question. He faltered a little bit, touching his face. I think he was like, oh no, I can't believe he dare ask me a question that could be semi-controversial. And then he's like, I'm just going to say a lot of words so that it sounds like I'm saying something official.
Because of that training, there is this sense of ancient or spiritual wisdom around your content. And it's interesting because when I read your books or listen to your stuff, a lot of it sort of reminds me of sort of almost cognitive behavioral therapy material or self-help material that I've encountered in lots of different places, like list making, sort of gratitude journaling.
It's AI, Jay Shetty AI. He's not moving a muscle.
You talk about the importance, simple importance of breathing, but it's within this sort of framework of spiritual thinking. And can you tell me a little bit more about the interplay between sort of your spiritual training and sort of more secular self-help ideas that also comes up in your work?
Okay, this is something that I've been thinking about a lot with Jay Shetty, and I don't think this part is his fault. I think because of the way he looks, because he's, of Indian descent, that people assume wrongly that he has some sort of mythical wisdom because of how he looks, the color of his skin and his heritage. And that's on those people. That's not his fault that people just put that onto him. Now, he's taking full advantage of it, but I think he found over time that he's got a British accent, blue-green eyes, and he's Indian, and therefore people like white women from LA think that he's a god. It's like the guy who does the Bikram yoga. Like, they think, oh wow, because of the way he looks, he must know what he's talking about. He must be very mystical, and that is not correct. But he's, using that to the fullest. Does that make sense? So to me, I think it's not 100% Jay Shetty's fault, but he is not, he notices it and is like, okay, I'm going to take these people for all they're worth.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've always been passionate and fascinated by the intersection between ancient wisdom and modern science. And when I first read the Bhagavad Gita, which is the primary text that I reference in my books, which is a 5,000-year-old text and Eastern wisdom, to me, pretty much every modern growth idea or personal development idea can be somehow traced back to it and found in it. And so I find it to be an incredible map and conversation starter for so much of the spiritual wisdom that I love to share. So, recently we've been talking about the value of circadian rhythms and the need to see sunlight early in the morning. And to me, there's something known as sun salutations in the Eastern tradition of yoga, where that's exactly what you would do. Now, they didn't talk about it as a circadian rhythm starter, but that's exactly how you'd start your morning. So and
it's also very popular on Andrew Huberman's podcast right now, and we saw the views on that episode, so we're going to just put our own spin on it, our own mystical spin on it on the Jay Shetty podcast.
Always found it fascinating to find this intersection because I'm personally deeply interested. I also find that it's really beautiful when there are really practical ways of showing how these old ideas have a lot of validity today. There's not many new things, but there are deeper ways of understanding the same thing.
We hear about things like, mindfulness has kind of exploded over the last decade or so, or, people will talk about karma or sort of living within one's dharma, which I think...
Yeah, I do agree that this interviewer is struggling for me. I think we need to get to the point. I don't know if he's nervous or what, but it is kind of not the best. I agree.
Dharma can basically be understood as one's life purpose. And people talk about these concepts that are rooted in really religious and spiritual practices. And sometimes I wonder if people maybe mistakenly think that they can...
I think I would look like this guy if I was a man. I think this is what I would look like approximately if I was male.
Decouple the spiritual practices or like the true religious root of these things, and just sort of use them in kind of like almost like a fast food kind of way. Like it's a shortcut.
I have a different perspective.
There's a book. I've never read it. I have it. I own it, but I have not read it, and I should. It's called McMindfulness, and it is exactly about this topic that he's speaking of, that this larger idea of taking time for yourself and looking within and meditating and, seeking wisdom beyond yourself and beyond the secular world, it's become commodified and commercialized and bastardized, very much similar to yoga. There's lots of arguments against that or for that yoga was once something that was a religious practice that had asanas and ritual and that's why some people think you can't do yoga in a school because it's indoctrinating the children into a religion that they don't understand. But then there's the other side of it that are like, it's become an exercise in the West and it's lost all of its, core values. So it is nothing new. Again, he's just taking advantage of it. But it does become, I think, the lying part is what bothers me. He's taking advantage of a system that he didn't create. However, he's also lying explicitly all the time for his own gain. And I find that to be very at odds with a monk's, ethical values. Anyways.
Almost like a fast food kind of way. Like it's a shortcut.
I have a different perspective that I'd like to share.
Yeah.
My perspective is that sometimes someone's starting point in a deep practice may be really simple, easy, and potentially even surface level. And that may be them just dipping their toe in the water. And that's how we all started something. Like, I'll give you an example. Well, during the pandemic, I did, I think around 40 days of meditation on Instagram, Facebook Live, and YouTube Live, and people could just join from their home. And the amount of people that I still meet today who will come up to me and say, Jay, I started meditating because of you. Now, all these people had never meditated in their entire life. Is meditating on Instagram Live the deepest, most profound meditation? Probably not. But if that's their starting point, if that's the connection point, then what a beautiful thing that people have gone on to travel and maybe go on a meditation retreat and maybe do more with their own life with whichever teachers or practices that they love. I think, to me, it's almost like it's a good thing.
I'm very
sure. So he's mindfulness 101. He's spirituality 101. Fine. But is that how he's been marketing himself thus far? No, I think he markets himself as a deeply knowledgeable guru who's gone through trials and tribulations to be able to teach the masses about how to live their life. So he's kind of, I don't know, not being honest here, in my opinion.
Very interested in people's turning points in their lives. So I'd like to ask you about what I think was your big turning point, which is, you were a young man in London. I believe you were going to business school at the time, or
I attended Cass Business School, which is now known as Bayes Business School. Yes,
and you ended up kind of on a whim going to a lecture by.
This is a fake story. This is a fake story, most likely, allegedly, because he had already been deeply involved, according to the article by The Guardian, in the movement before he was in college. As a student, as a kid, he was doing stuff with this ISKCON community. So this story is inaccurate, according to the research, allegedly.
A monk whose name was it Gauranga Das?
Gauranga Das, yes.
And you sort of had this... you were swept away, had this epiphany that, he was saying something that you needed to hear. Can you just tell me about what you heard in that moment that was so powerful to you that you thought, well, that it actually became kind of a life-changing moment?
Softball ass question.
David, it was probably even beyond what I heard. It was seeing a man who externally was not attractive to me in any way, as a, seeing a man in robes with his head shaved, with an Indian accent from India. And I didn't understand even in that moment probably of why I was so attracted to him, but it was his sense of peace, his sense of ease, his sense of confidence in being so different. And I think at that age in your life, you're always trying to fit in. And
this is like a person saying that was raised Catholic, seeing a priest in college, but had gone through, Catholic high school and all that and went to church every Sunday, seeing a priest in college and going, I never was attracted to this before. Because what he's saying is that it just all of a sudden at 19 years old he wanted to go get a beer and then was talked into going to this lecture, and then it changed his life. But that sounds like that was not. He was very already much doing the religion and doing these things with his family since he was a young child. So this is just a made up story to market himself.
And here was someone who didn't fit in at all, but felt like the most comfortable person in the room. And to me, that was more important, I think, than anything he even said.
I want to ask you something related to that, which is, it's to do with kind of your arc And I think one of the things that's sort of particularly unusual about your arc is that it kind of looks from the outside like it's an inversion of sort of like a typical monk's journey, where I think.
Thank you, Alaska Blood Tundra. Thank you. Woo! Alaska Blood Tundra, shout out.
But also,
As you laugh while you're getting ready for bed, instead of praying to God, you're praying, I'm dead.
This guy's fumbling this interview so far.
Usually, or sort of the typical version of that is somebody, decides to embrace monastic life and then, embraces a kind of asceticism or a renunciation of, material things, wealth, whatever it may be. In some ways, it seems like you decided to pursue a monastic life, and then have moved towards. I think you're probably doing pretty well for yourself financially. You hang out with glamorous people. You're a successful entrepreneur. Are there any ways in which you feel?
Okay, what he's trying to say, I think, is most people live a life of trying to, run in the rat race and get ahead, and then find an ashram or a monastery or something, and then they give it all away and they live the rest of their life in peace. Jay Shetty, allegedly, according to his alleged lies, he started as a monk, gave it up to pursue a life of rat racing. That's what he's trying to ask him. Why did most people flip it and get out, you got in. How does that work? And how are you teaching people about being a monk when you've done the opposite with your life?
Like the spiritual tradition in which you were training is in tension with sort of the life that you're living now?
First of all, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'd say that there's a understanding in spiritual tradition, which is all about how, as humans, we tend to idolize or demonize things, and that the ultimate truth is to be able to utilize everything for a higher purpose. And I think that's what's often missed. And so there's a beautiful statement in the Gita, which I was talking about earlier, the Bhagavad Gita, that says attachment and aversion are two sides of the same coin. And so I think we often in our Western understanding see detachment as better than attachment. However, the spiritual understanding is far more subtle and far more refined, that detachment doesn't mean aversion. Detachment means you can be close to anything in the world and use it for a higher purpose. Now,
So he uses his $8 million mansion for a higher purpose of storing his Adidas tracksuits. Duh. What don't you guys understand about that?
I'm saying I'm doing that, and I'm not saying I live in that. I'm saying I try my best. And I'd say that's my
Try harder, dude. If you think you are living a monastic lifestyle, try harder. Your freaking $8 million Malibu mansion and your everything dripping designer and probably taking PJs, and I cannot imagine what car you drive. Yeah, right. You're trying your best. You suck then.
My aspiration is that every day I'm living in the quote unquote real world, or, however we call it, I'm reminded of my flaws. I'm reminded of my, how far away I am from truly living up to the spiritual pursuits that I have and have had for most of my life now. And I love that. I love being reminded of how far I have to go. And so I would argue that I feel more close to growth in my current life than I ever did in the ashram, because in the ashram I could almost forget or think maybe I'd already found it.
Is there any part?
Wow, what a convenient way to live. So actually, Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos are actually closer to enlightenment because they don't have to wonder if being rich would solve everything for them. Wow. So if you're poor and have nothing, and if you're living in an ashram, you actually are less close to God, says Jay Shetty. Got it.
Part of you that thinks maybe that's an elaborate self-justification?
I have questioned that many times.
Yeah.
And I continue to question it. I think that the spiritual philosophy of 5,000 years old is pretty clear on it. So I take that as my authority over myself. However, the other side of it, to be quite frank and honest, is I think it's also a graduation. It's like I'm married. I have businesses. We have teams. We have companies. I'm not a monk anymore. And I think it's almost like having to recognize that you've evolved, you've grown, your life has changed. And yeah, I'm not living that way anymore. And it's partly why I wrote a book called Think Like a Monk, Not Live Like a Monk. That was intentional because I think everyone can think like a monk. I don't think everyone, including me, can live like a monk for the rest of their life.
Yeah. I think
That was a decent question from this interviewer. You know, do you think that's a big justification? And the answer is yes. The answer is yes. How can you sit there with a straight face and go, yeah, I preach detachment, and yet have every possible thing of luxury in my life and continue to do so? Meanwhile, people are suffering all over the world, and yet I don't do a thing about it. Maybe go a step further, dude. I don't know.
You know, the think like a monk, live like a monk distinction is sort of related to what I was asking about earlier, which is the how usefully we can decouple sort of religious belief from sort of religiously action. And I know I keep asking you I keep asking you like, where is the line here? But I'm interested in trying to understand where these boundaries are.
Sure.
But
Ay, this guy's killing me. Thank you. Redhead with a Rake. Redhead with a Rake. I love that name. Redhead with a Rake says, so happy to finally catch a live. Also, does this monk have a beauty filter on? Well, of course he does. He doesn't want to be like a monk. He wants to cosplay as a monk and also think like a model and think like a Kardashian and earn like a heiress to the Walmart fortune. That's me every day thinking about Jay Shetty's lifestyle. You guys, it was Grammys week. He's tired. It was Grammys week. Hey, it's Jay Shetty from the Calm app. I'm at the Grammys. I got more drippy than you. And I don't think like a monk. I skunk like a monk. Benny Blanco's my friend, and he's a podcaster on my channel. And he's emotionally deep. Namaste. Thank you, Redhead with a Rake. Appreciate you.
like, is there a point at which, thinking like a monk, if you're not also living like a monk, stops being monk-like thinking? Yes. Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. This is like maybe that was my version of Zen riddle, but
it's a koan.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a koan. Yeah, Zen koan. No, David, I really appreciate you. I can tell that you're really trying to understand it, and so I want to try and meet you there and help you with that.
Yeah.
It's probably different across traditions, and everyone has their own version.
That was his passive-aggressive, stop this now, David. I read How to Win Friends and Influence People, David, and I can see you're really trying to understand me, and I don't like it. Stop trying to understand me. Just read the lines that we sent you. My team sent you to read and to ask me questions.
Wait, let me really sit with your question.
Yeah. How much can you think like a monk if you're not really trying to live like a monk? That's what the question is.
He's pulling a Jeff Devine from Twin Flames. Just give me a moment. This interview is too difficult for me. It's like he's folding under literally no pressure. It's a pretty simple question to be answered. Now we have to go into a meditation to answer it.
And my response to that, with sitting there, and thank you for repeating it, is what if thinking like a monk was the beginning of that journey, and living like a monk could end up being a potential pathway for the person who tries to do that. Like, I'll give it, if every person in the world started to think like a monk, things would just improve in general, right? So I don't want to force everyone to try to live like a monk, because that's not going to happen tomorrow or ever. I don't think that's ever been the goal, but it's how can we take these mental practices and how can we apply them to
and monetize them for my own wealth growth,
our everyday lives, to actually improve our sense of peace and purpose. I think that's the goal.
I'd like to ask a little bit more about your specific content now. When I watch your material, and mostly I watch it, there are some guests, like, for example, an Adam Grant, who is as he's I believe he teaches maybe at the Wharton School or something like that.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Highly credentialed psychologist. And then you also have on folks like
the medical fucking medium. Okay, I was just watching that interview today that Jay Shetty gave of medical medium, and this is him, like this, to every outlandish, insane claim Anthony William had to offer. Now, to be fair, this was several years ago, but he has on anyone. So he mostly does celebrities now, but back then he was having on any grifter that wanted to be on his show. So yeah, good point, dude.
John Edward, the psychic medium, who's, let's just say his credentials are maybe more up in the air. Do you think about sort of what responsibility you have as far as the sort of credibility of a given guest?
Yeah, absolutely. Our team does a lot of research.
Our team, putting distance, our team does it. I don't book my guests. The team does it. It's not me. Here you go. Distance himself.
But works very hard on figuring out who we think would be great to introduce our audience. We think it's a responsibility that we take very seriously. At the same time, we're also listening to our audience as to who they'd like to learn from, who they'd like to listen from, what kind of things they're struggling with and challenged by. And a lot of guests are guests that the audience wants to hear from, that they're asking for in the comment section or writing to us on our website. And so I think, to me, my job is to be curious, and it's to be curious for my audience and community. And it's also to allow them to be involved in finding people that they believed are important for their healing, important for their growth, and important for their wellness journey as well.
Being curious is now a catch-all for having controversial figures on. Ned Fulmer uses be curious about himself and about his content. It's like, if you just want to get away with stuff, you just slap on be curious. Just be curious and hear this alt-right Nazi talk about their beliefs. No big deal. Be curious. It's like, okay, got it.
Skepticism fit into what you do at all?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it's, for example, like I recently interviewed an astrologist. What is astrology and how does it work?
So astrology is the study of how the sky mirrors what happens on Earth.
That's something that I had a lot of questions about, because it's not something that, I've never really read a horoscope out of a magazine or, and felt that it was, valuable or valid necessarily. And so there's definitely my own personal interpretation that comes into it. But
I bet he was like, during his contractual, I agree, every 45 minutes as they spew their nonsense on his podcast. That seems to be what he did with the what's her face? The Surgeon General woman. I black out. I black out and I block out immediately after the shows are over. Amy, thank you so much to Amy. LX8RN. Amy says, my Betty Beagle wants to know if she thinks like a monk. Will she also get an $8 million mansion and a Rolls Royce? Yes, of course. You just have to think like a monk and then also worship people like the Apple guy, not Tim Cook. Steve Jobs. You got to worship Steve Jobs, which Jay Shetty does. You got to worship Elon Musk, probably, I'm guessing. Jeff Bezos, those, Michael Jordan. That's the kind of people he's always impressed by. Eminem. People who are entrepreneurial, rich, fashionable, whatever. As long as you do that, then yes. Thinking like a monk, looking like a hunk, and got a big ass trunk. Then you get Rolls Royce. You get Rolls Royce.
You're not freaking fine.
You?
You had actually sent me a very nice DM. I didn't reply.
You got Epstein Barr.
You got Epstein Barr.
You have strong sugar glider energy.
And you got sugar glider energy. Thank you so much, Amy. Thank you.
It's still coming from a place of wanting to learn and wanting to see where it goes, and it doesn't mean I always walk out of anything a believer or a supporter in that sense. But I am fascinated. I'm fascinated for my audience. I think avoiding topics or putting them aside doesn't gain any value either.
But how do we?
I agree with him. I don't think it's wrong to have someone on, but I do think it's sloppy to not be critical and to just agree with all your guests, no matter what they say, which it seems like he does do that.
Figure out what's true. Like, isn't there also some value in trying to determine whether or not,
absolutely,
astrology or psychic mediumship is actually true and not just a pseudoscience?
Yeah.
Like truth.
I'm a Gemini, in case anyone cares.
Truth is why we're here, to figure out what is true or not.
Totally.
No, truth is not why we're here. Truth may be why you're here, sir, but money is why Jay Shetty's here. Gaining wealth is what Jay Shetty is on this earth for, and he's decided that, and he's okay with that. It's not about truth at all. It's about making dollars go into his bank account and making people think he's really cool to get him more money. That's it. Hate Mabuli. Hate Mabuli. Hopefully that's correct. Thank you so much. They say, why does the interviewer give, I need to be very careful, I might be fired vibes? I saw interviews with Putin who are way more relaxed and to the point than this nonsense. Yeah, I don't know. I've never heard this guy before. I've never seen this guy before do any interviews, so I don't know if this is just his I'm just trying to understand style, or there's a lawyer sitting there threatening to be litigious with him because they had some pre-warning. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know what Jay Shetty could possibly do to this guy. He's voluntarily giving this interview, so if he answers a question incorrectly, this is not live either, so he could probably request to edit it, which they probably wouldn't at the New York Times, I would hope. But anyways, yeah, I don't know. I think he's just nervous. Or just thinks that he's doing a great job. You know, sometimes especially in sports, when I would go to they call it a scrum, and you go to a sports event, and as a reporter or as someone in the press and you're in a big group, there is this ego thing where the longer your question is, the more that people in the room who are your colleagues may believe that you have done your research and really have a thoughtful question that you're going to ask Michael Jordan sitting up there, and that maybe Michael Jordan will think that you're very wise and very smart and have a really well thought out question. And the longer that those people speak, that people will just assume that they're smarter. And I have found that the question typically could be asked much simpler, much quicker, but that's their moment to shine, is a journalist asking a question. So I do think maybe there's some of that. Like, he wants to be in a conversation with Jay Shetty, not just go, what's your deal? Why are you acting like this? How can this be true? Doesn't make any sense. Like, he could just get to the point, but maybe he wants to sound like he's a performer kind of guy. That's my guess. Hate Mabuli.
You have to think instead of sitting around eating Skittles and watching Oprah reruns.
That's the only advice you need. And also,
You probably have parasites.
that's advice too. Thank you so much. And also, Sammy the Manx. Thank you so much. My Manx cat sleeps like a monk listening to this. Taro has gone to the bed. She's not interested in hearing this anymore.
Take off your glasses and go drive a vehicle.
That's what she said to me because she's sick of this Jay Shetty character.
I love you.
But that's how I feel about you, Sammy the Manx, and how I feel about all Manxes.
You look like a Lord of the Rings elf.
Manx-eye. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Okay, back to it.
And I don't disagree with you at all. I think you're absolutely right. I just think that truth, when it comes to healing, is really, really open. It's not like healing doesn't look the same for everyone, and what helps some people won't help other people, and that's also true. And so it depends what your definition of truth is. And I think sometimes when we talk,
That's a giveaway. It depends on what your definition of truth is. I think Jay Shetty uses that line on a daily basis to justify what he's been doing.
Talk about truth, which is important, and of course the most valuable conversation. It's like me saying to you, like, David,
bitch.
How long have you been with your partner?
17 years, something like that. 20 years.
Okay, amazing, which is incredible.
She'll be mad I didn't get that exactly correct.
I'm sorry.
Somewhere between 7 and 17 and 20.
Sorry to expose you like this. I apologize. Congratulations. That's amazing. It's my wife and I's. It's our 10th wedding anniversary this year.
Oh, congratulations.
And 13 years together.
Yeah.
So, it's like, how do I prove that my love for my wife is true? Like what proves that? And it's not, I'm not saying that there isn't a way of answering that question, but it's a very hard question to answer as fact or fiction, because everyone will say something different. Or if I asked your wife and you asked my wife, what proves to you that David loves you? Or Jay, what proves to you that, your partner loves you? Like they'd probably give very different answers, I imagine.
Yeah. I think you're mixing some things together that maybe shouldn't be mixed together. I mean, the answer to what is proof of my love for my wife? I think the proof would be my actions every day. But the truth of that proof is a very different kind of truth than, is my broken bone healed? Or can the stars tell me what's going on in my life? Or can we communicate with the dead? These are all different kinds of truth that require different levels of proof.
For sure, but the proof is not. I don't disagree with you at all. I mean, the questions that you're specifically looking at, I've been both curious and skeptical in those interviews. I guess what I'm debating with you and
doubtful. I get what he's saying again. I think he sort of muddled the question, but yes, to say is someone pretty is a different question than can holistic treatments treat cancer? Like, one is an opinion base that has a wide variety of options depending on which person you ask, and one is a truth or not. So he's trying to skirt around the question, and I'm glad that he brought it back to ask him again. But it's not strong enough for me. I want it to be more, not aggressive, but more, and not gotcha, but I want it to be more on the nose of like, answer the question, because you are an authority in your own way for people's lives. Answer the question, please, about, why do you have psychic mediums on your podcast? And then also, support other, I don't know. I guess he could do whatever he wants.
enjoying the discussion that we're having is, I think it's really hard to call someone else's personal experience of healing with something as not true.
Yeah.
And that is something that I'm not willing to put aside, because that's an important thing that humans also need to be curious and skeptical about, is allowing space for that. I think it's easier to be like, yeah, true, the facts are all that matters.
Yeah. So, I'm sure there was this Guardian article that came out in 2024 where the writer, he sort of wrote about ways in which, he said you sort of...
Dude, he's killing me. Keep the camera on Jay at this moment, please. I want to see his face when he has to answer about this article.
Fudge details, specific details about what your actual training was as a monk, how much time you actually spent in India, and sort of the timeline of how all that happened. Uh-oh. But my question about that is...
Awkward alert.
Whether you felt like you did have to try and, simplify or elide details about your backstory so as to make your story more legible to more people. Like, if there was a story about Jay Shetty that you wanted to tell publicly, did you feel like you had to tell that story a certain way?
Why didn't you just ask, did you lie, like the article said, about your time as a monk? Was there anything that you misled the public about? Period. Here you go. Answer the question, dude.
Even if maybe that way was not 100% factually accurate?
I've always been open and honest about, that time in my life and clear about it. I mean, I lived as a monk for 3 years. I traveled across India, the UK, and Europe. And I think what's fascinating to me is the value I gained from that time is the teachings and the lessons I share. And that's what I'm really about. And that's what I'm really trying to deliver to the world.
Okay. He kept that one canned and ready to go. He's like, I'm done with this question. The thing is, he to be fair, he has fudged it for sure from different interviews and the book and all that. But he has said he traveled while he was a monk. So he wasn't in India for 3 years straight. So that was different than sometimes he's like, I slept on a floor in the ashram for 3 years. Well, that's not true, because in the 3 years you were a monk, you traveled the UK and Europe teaching about being a monk, even though you just became one, which makes no sense, but okay. And then secondly, he made a claim like, oh, when I got out of the ashram, I didn't know who the prime minister was. I didn't know who won the World Cup. Yet you were traveling in these places that were not isolated from society. You weren't in the tiny village that you want people to assume that you were in. He was out there doing like service projects, whatever that means, allegedly. Probably trying to recruit, I would guess. And I don't know that for sure, but I would guess trying to recruit people into the ISKCON, program or whatever he was doing. Who knows? But yeah, he has fudged it to be absolutely clear. And that answer was a non-answer in my opinion. So I hope he follows up with here's what the article said. What do you have to say about that?
Jay, I feel like we can go deeper with that answer. Were there things that you felt like you had to simplify or just tell in a more legible fashion?
No, not at all. I extremely clear about and open about my experience. It was 3 years. It was traveling. I was learning deep meditation in India and study, and then traveling to London to share and teach, traveling to Europe to share and teach. That was part of our practice. And I think I've created so much content, and there's insights to this, whether it's my books, my podcasts, everywhere. And it would be hard for anyone to consume all of that to really get the full picture. And so I think that's really, I think if someone was reading and listening and following me on Instagram and social media and everything, they'd be able to very clearly see it as well. And they do.
See what? That you lied? See what? They weren't there, so we're all just taking your word for it. And it has changed over time, and it has been simplified, I believe, to make it sound like you went through this 3 years of deep training and then he said also that his Garangadas, his mentor, was like, you need to leave and teach the world how to do this. Being a monk is not that impressive, but going viral, making wisdom viral, that's what your destiny is. And then it turns out he was hospitalized because he couldn't live at he wasn't doing it correctly, or he was not eating enough and he passed out, and then he had to leave against his will. It's confusing depending on which article, which book you listen to. So it has been murky at best.
And the other thing I wanted to ask about from that Guardian piece was, there has been criticism of you in the past for earlier in your career, sort of sharing words of wisdom without attribution, or I think your online coaching school, there were questions about whether sort of aspects of its accreditation were misleading in various ways. And as far as I can tell, that stuff has all been cleaned up. But I guess my question to
the cleaned up part is that he deleted a bunch of stuff when this accusation came out, and he also went back into YouTube descriptions and put story inspired by blah blah blah. But previous to that, he was just taking full on poems, full on quotes, full on things from other people, very much like Mel Robbins, and saying, my name, here it is, I'm saying this poem as if I came up with it, and I don't give a shit. That's what he used to do. Now he's cleaned it up, but he already had his following. It's like building a following off of a lie and then going, oh, I lied, sorry, or I didn't really lie, I'll fix it, and then keeping all the followers.
You is sort of what might account for those missteps. Was there any intention to mislead in some way?
Yes.
I think if you look at my videos from day one, you'll see me quoting, sourcing, crediting appropriately all the time. And I value the work of so many other people that I...
Liar, 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 pants on fire. There's absolutely no way. He knows that is a bold-faced lie. Bold-faced. Heidi, where are you? I need you.
Bold-faced lie.
There's no way. Maybe he's pulled it down now, but we should watch the Nicole Arbor video again because she had him pinned from the beginning. She deserves the credit for pinning his ass from the beginning, honestly. She pulled all the receipts of him taking his name. Again, very a la Rachel Hollis. Then she will rise or whatever. She then will rise and putting Rachel Hollis said this on it. Like, okay. Anyways, Amy, thank you so much. Amy LX8RN. Thank you as always. Amy says, found a dog monk outfit online for Betty. Oh, posted it in Kia's subreddit. Betty is on her way to living in that mansion like Jay's monk status. Well, I have to see it now. You can't tease me with that and then I can't watch it. Let's see Betty. Oh. Betty, Betty, Betty. Oh my gosh, please get this. Oh. This is a Gregorian monk. Very similar to... Oh my goodness, Betty. We love Betty. Oh, I have this to say. Hold on.
God was like, you're done.
No, that's not what I want to say.
But also,
this.
I love myself so much.
No, that's not what I wanted to say. I wanted to say this.
I am such a giver.
This.
I am getting emotional right now.
Betty,
Why am I so emotional?
I cried in Ocean.
Betty,
I am not emotionally stable.
I need attention. I need help.
I'm scared.
I'm scared of my emotions that Betty is bringing up to me. Betty, the Gregorian monk. Please make this happen, Amy. Please.
Why am I so emotional? I have full body chills right now.
And also, since we're on the Reddit, by the way, if you go to the Reddit, there's now a soundbite library that I am starting. There's little tarot. There's little tarot. There's little tarot. Thank you for the screenshot. Daisy, I believe, sent that to me. It's all the sound bites. Speaking of, here's the Jay Shetty one from his interview with Medical Medium.
Juice. I love selling stuff online.
True. He's true. He never lied about that. He loves selling stuff online. He never lied about that. He looks like a different person also. Anyways, okay, back to it. But if you want to go, it's open now to everybody. If you want to see, this will be growing over time. You can listen to where all the sound bites came from, and we'll keep adding to it. And you can also look at Taro's beautiful little face. And now Betty's also on there. Oh, wait. I'm not done. We're not done. We're not done with you yet, Jay Shetty. Okay, back to it.
Share and wisdom from others that I've gained from and want to pass it on. And we actually have a team now that's fully dedicated to crediting and sourcing and researching to make sure that all of those things are kept intact. And
he needs an entire team to make sure that he's not stealing quotes from other creators. So what wisdom did you learn while you were traveling for 3 years across Europe? If you have a whole team that has to check your ass to make sure that you're not stealing people's quotes and ideas, what did you actually learn?
I'm really proud of that because it's such an important thing for us to be doing to make sure that people who deserve the credit receive it.
But that was an issue earlier, right?
Yes.
Like what you're describing is a change in practices.
Yes.
I think that at the time, there's so much wisdom out there. There's so
much wisdom. Now there's not as much wisdom. So yes, now I have a whole team. At the time there was so much wisdom. It was hard to give credit when I stole people's ideas.
many things being shared. It was never intentional.
Yes. Oh my God. Okay, we need to play her video. I'm so sorry because she did the. Stand by. Okay, this is how fucking blatant he used to be. And again, I'm not supporting her as a person. She's got her own issues. We need to take a second. We need to take a second just to watch her receipt pull.
I realize that there's a difference between talking shit about people and talking truth about shitty people. That is not my quote, but whoever wrote it, hey. I don't like when people trick people. There's still a few weeks until my podcast and new videos launch, but I could not let this go on. He's full of shit. Jay Shetty is full of shit. He's 100% full of shit and stole every single thing his career is based off. Dear Jay Shetty.
Okay, here's a quote. A relationship without trust is like a car without gas. You can stay in it all you want, but it won't go anywhere. Michael J. Herbert. Oh, a relationship without trust is like a car without gas. You can stay in it all you want, but it won't go anywhere. Jay Shetty. Ooh, that looks like very fucking intentional, Jay. That looks very intentional. Where was your team? Where was your team at this point? Okay, 2018. Most people never start because they don't want to blah, blah, blah. Don't be most people. He stole that one. It says, if you want daily inspiration, come and find me on Instagram. I'll steal other people's quotes and put my name on it. That was this was 2016. Like, I guess it even had to been past that. 2018, like you could just do whatever you wanted. And Facebook and everyone was like, yes, steal it, baby, steal it and put a fancy font on it and we will love it.
Those of you who don't know, I spent a ton of my 20s in bed and on disability after a car accident. Part of helping me get through extreme chronic pain was listening to every motivational, spiritual, every kind of positivity and awesome inspiration that I could every day. I would say I'm a spirituality and motivation connoisseur. So when I saw Jay's posts, I went, what the fuck?
Stealing from Tony Robbins. Do what you did in the beginning of a relationship and there won't be an end. Now, to be fair, Tony Robbins probably stole that from someone else too. But Jay Shetty stole it from Tony Robbins. So, grifters stealing from grifters. More? Okay. Having an experience doesn't have to be going skydiving, doing drugs, or partying until 4 a.m. It can be a deep conversation on a quiet Friday night. Jay Shetty. Oh, man. So, like,
and that was
why doesn't the reporter bring this up and go, okay, what about this? What about this? What about this?
That I posted on Pinterest in like 2010.
The 6 inches between your left and right ear is the most valuable real estate you own. Don't let anyone or anything rent space there for free. He was really out here telling people he came up with all these ideas. But they all do it. To be fair, they all were doing it back then. They were all copying each other's method of copying other people's stuff.
Being a thief pays. Ask Jerry. In 2 years of stealing everybody else's material, Jay got himself on the Forbes 30 under 30 list and is making millions. Millions.
More.
Jay just tweeted, in West Philadelphia, born and raised.
Okay, you get the point. There is more than enough evidence that he was actively, and even in his videos, okay, watch, it gets more egregious because those are all printed ones, right? You could go, well, he copied and pasted and it's your misunderstanding that he meant that he just likes that quote and he put his name under it because he likes it. Okay, but here's the video stuff that she also pulled.
A liar, and at very least a plagiarist.
We're meant to love people and use things, but today we use people and love things. The way we communicate says it all. We spend more times holding our phones than we hold each other. When you're young, you say, I love you because I need you. When you grow up, you realize I need you because I love you.
Oh, well, fuck your mother. It's all of them. You literally steal your everything.
Don't let someone be a priority when all you are to them is an option.
Oh, God, I love it when I'm right. Another one.
Some of us lose the people most important to us because we don't value their time.
That is true.
So all he's doing is putting a British accent and emphasizing the words that he saw on Pinterest. I never intentionally stole anything. I unintentionally robbed people because I was on monk drugs. I don't know how you can sit there with a straight face like that and say you never intentionally took people's ideas, and there was so much wisdom back then that there was no way to give fucking credit. It's just so stupid. And he'll never face consequences. That video that Nicole Arbor did has been out for like 10 years.
Practices.
I think that at the time there's so much wisdom out there. There's so many things being shared. It was never intentional.
Yes, it was.
It was never, my values are to be clear and transparent and simply share wisdom that I've gained and learned. And that's why if there were any discrepancies, they were definitely cleared up.
Just admit it. That would be the ethical thing to do. As a person who got caught red-handed doing something that is unethical, you say, look, I didn't think that, I would blow up this much. I didn't think that people would resonate with these things so much, and I didn't give credit where credit was due. I took these people's words because I admired them and I put my name on it, and that was wrong. That would make me go, okay, I don't like that at all. That was the wrong thing, but at least I have respect. This is a liar. He will tell you whatever to make himself look good, and that is a dangerous person.
Are there things that you feel like you've learned from criticism of you that you've encountered over the years?
Yeah,
They're all haters, and they all just want my money, and they're all just jealous assholes.
learned that intention is important, and I've learned that there's such a profound need to see anything that comes your way as a mirror to see how you can improve in every way. And so I think that whether it's feedback, whether it's criticism, I look at it from the perspective of how can I be better? How can I improve? How can we be better? What can we do differently? And I'm always willing to, take that responsibility to do that, because I think that's what my teachers would want me to do. That's what my training was, geared towards me to do. And so anything that comes my way is always a way of improving, a way of being better next time. I mean, I'm so excited about the production company we're building. I'm excited about all the exciting work that we're up to, because I almost can't believe that I get the opportunity to do this.
Pivot the conversation to your next project, Jay. He's going to come out with a show called The Sopranos. It's going to be based on an Italian mob family living in New Jersey and a man named Tony who's going to therapy. It's an original idea that he came up with. I feel very grateful for it. I feel very fortunate, very lucky.
I was talking to someone about the production company that you're launching it, or what? How would you describe
We're announcing it with you. Yeah. So yeah, I haven't even talked about it yet. Yeah, this is the.
He's regretting doing this. He should have went on Kim Kardashian's podcast if she has one.
First time.
But
yeah, weird choice for him to go on the New York Times. What were you thinking? Whoever your publicist is right now is not thinking in the Jay Shetty mindset. Too mainstream. You need to stick with go on Joe Rogan or something. Like, this is too much for him. I don't know what he's too curated. He's too perfect. That's why he wants the prestige of the New York Times, the New York Times Magazine. But he is not that. He needs to realize, stick in your lane. Go on the Heidi Powell Couch podcast. That's more your lane, dude.
I was talking with someone about Perfect Strangers, and she said to me that one of the things you're interested in doing is being like a destination for a certain type of celebrity interview. Is that accurate?
I'm not sure. No. I would say on purpose already is that. I mean, I would say that my podcast has already been established as a place when we find people of, whether they're athletes, musicians, actors, artists, experts, thought leaders, who really want to open their heart and have a space to really talk about things that they've never talked about before. And
spew their beliefs to try to garner support for their causes that are lies half the time. Hate Mabule. Thank you so much once again. Hate Mabule. Or Hate Mabule. Hatemabule. Maybe that's the correct pronunciation. I'll never know. I think he's annoyed because he has now moved on from all this monk nonsense and he started this TV show with bored, self-centered folks. Yeah, maybe he's feeling like he's not being worshipped as much. Maybe he feels like people are only watching his podcast for the celebrities, and now he's put himself in this box where he's not the biggest celebrity, so now he's got to change it. And also, he was besties with Will Smith. Will Smith tarnished his reputation and his record and his legacy, and so now he's got to find, and also he was besties with Jennifer Lopez, who has tarnished her reputation and has become sort of known as a diva and a not so nice person to be around. So he's picked two bad people to align himself with, and now he's stuck in this Kardashian podcast interview hell where that's all he really is doing now. But he has lost his godlike status where people are worshiping him. And I think he misses that. And I think he needs to get back to that. So this is why he's, getting Benny Blanco to fart on camera. It's all coming together.
I have dyslexia so bad.
I'm proud to be proud of you.
And when Will Smith, slapped Chris Rock in the face, what did Jay have to say? Nothing, I don't think.
My guardian angels, my spirit guides.
I'm going to stomp you.
That's what Will Smith said. Thank you. Hate mabule. That's what I'm going to say is the pronunciation because I like that and it's more fun.
I'm going to stomp you.
I'm just an idiot.
True. Me. Okay, back to it.
Behind the scenes, whether it was Madonna last year talking about her spiritual journey or Emma Watson talking about the behind the scenes of an incredible career, I feel On Purpose is that destination, and I'm really grateful and proud that we've been able to create it because I want to tell stories that make people feel less alone. David, did you see?
Whenever I hear Emma Watson talk about her career, I always feel less alone.
Did you see Adolescence?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I was extremely moved by that, and I feel like...
Yeah, you and everyone else. It was a great limited series. Amazing work. That is not what Benny Blanco's doing on your production company.
That's like a gold standard of things that I'd love to be able to create and put out there. Stories that help parents have better conversations with their children, help partners have more efficient conversations with each other, create content that sparks conversation, allows people to have deeper conversations about mental health awareness and what it looks like.
And why are you qualified for that? How do you fit into this? Just profiting from that idea?
To really raise awareness of these things in a way that isn't on the nose, that isn't maybe teachy in a traditional sense, but allows people to really brought into the heart of what's going on and what's happening at the root. And so I think that I'm glad that you've seen it because I think that's a really good example of something that I would aspire to want to make.
You
Now, is he writing these? Is he going to write Adolescence, or is he going to pay for someone, like he's going to find projects like Adolescence to financially support? I'm unclear as to what his company is going to be doing. He also has a talent agency, or did at some point, which I have not heard about in quite a while, where it was like other speakers going on stages and charging $100,000 per, talk. I guess he's trying to diversify. He's got his Junie. He used to have a tea company that spun off into now like a sparkling juice company. So he's feeling like he's not at the top of the mountain quite yet. He's feeling like he's being left behind. The monk dust is being left with him in it.
Talk about the subject of detachment in your work. Do you think you've practiced detachment?
No.
In this interview?
Have I practiced detachment in this interview?
I don't know what that question is, to be fair, either. I'd be like, yeah, no, yeah. I don't know what that means.
What's your definition of detachment in that question?
I think in some of my questions around sort of criticisms or controversies, you gave answers that felt safe,
scripted,
and maybe a little more comfortable, rather than detaching from what's safe what was safe or comfortable and answering in sort of a somewhat more objective or clear way.
Yeah, but you got to also look in the mirror, sir. Your question answering was detached from any sort of logical thought process. So I'll give Jay a shred of sorry, dude. I don't know how anyone would answer what he's asking here correctly. So I think it's almost unfair for him to have to answer this way, because what he should be answering is, during this interview, I feel like you gave a lot of safe answers. Do you agree with that? Or do you think this is as raw as you could be?
That's why I ask.
And I would say that, to me, my definition of detachment is, am I able to be present here and be open and honest with you and clear with you? And I've tried to do that to the best of my ability.
He tried. He didn't succeed.
Appreciate you speaking with me, and I am very much looking forward to talking with you again, and I think it's just a couple days.
Yeah, absolutely. I look forward to it as well. Thank you so much.
On the interview, we talked to our guest twice. This time, Jay Shetty and I go deeper into the seeming conflict between his monk-like principles and being an influencer.
So that was the pop quiz, and now him and his team are going to go do some mock interviews and are going to start pulling information about this guy's private life and start sending some threats via text.
Jay, I'm very happy to be speaking with you again.
Me too, David. It's good to see you.
Do you have any thoughts from our first conversation? Anything lingering?
That's a great question.
He looks like a different person. What happened? The different lighting really changes things.
I think there was, something that maybe I didn't get a chance to share with you. And it was around this idea of we talked a bit about, any sort of criticism coming your way. And I think when I think about that, it's, to let you in on that, it's like for me, that's uncomfortable. It's hard because you're trying to do something with the best of intentions. And I think we all want to feel understood and we want to feel seen. And I think when you're misunderstood or not seen in the way that you would like, it's hard for everyone. And it's been very hard for me and difficult for me. And I think...
Oh, no, it's been hard and difficult for him. Other people don't have to face criticism for what they say. Oh, only him. And he also gets to profit.
I once woke up to the story of a woman boiling and eating her 7-year-old daughter.
One of the world's big...
Okay. You know what? Everyone just be mean to me. They just be so mean to me, Jay Shetty. They don't even compliment my beautiful eyes every day, every minute. They only compliment me on my Versace suits. It's hard for everybody, especially me, Jay Shetty. I'm so sad. One step for man, one giant leap for mankind. I said that. That came from my brain. Jay Shetty out. Okay, sorry.
When you're being judged, the first point is not to push that person away. It's to see whether that exists in you. And I think when you actually look at yourself in that way, you can find everything exists in you. You can find, and that's really vulnerable to say. It's really open to say that you can find that every intention, every desire, every intention exists within you. If you really take a look in the mirror and if you're not scared of looking at that. And so when I look at my experience of all of that, I've kind of come to this conclusion of, well, I do want to be deeply spiritual and I want to be really successful. Like I do want to be deeply connected to my monk principles and I want to do really well as an entrepreneur. And it almost feels like to me the balancing of that or the aligning of that, very honestly and candidly speaking, is worth pursuing rather than this fixation we have specifically in the West of being like, well, I'm just going to be this. And this is how I define myself to the world and myself.
Yeah, it's a Western problem. I love how when he leans on that, like, especially in the West, people just do this. It's like he's othering himself as, well, I'm an Eastern spiritual guru who doesn't identify with, the typical Western view of you have to be one or the other, a monk or a famous entrepreneur. It's like, you're the one saying, think like a monk. And what you're telling us monks are like is detaching from riches and fame and ego. And yet you have the biggest ego in the whole world. So that is a contradiction that I would like to be explained.
That answer has opened up so many questions for me. And, you know, I think I definitely have judged you in a certain way, and it's related to the, you know, sort of trying to reconcile the monkish principles with the sort of entrepreneur influencer principles. And I think it's really it's a skepticism that comes from a particular type of perception of you. And I think that when I think of you as someone trying to operate within sort of a spiritual or a mental health realm, then my skepticism kind of grows. If I think about you as someone operating within an entrepreneur or a sort of influencer realm, then I feel like you're sort of who you are is much easier for me to understand. But those are my own hangups. I want to know how you think.
Is this the worst interview? Is this the worst interview I've ever heard? It may be. What has happened to journalism? I'm sorry. Was this how it was? It's so bad. This is supposed to be the best newspaper in the country, in the world, and he cannot get a thought out. It's very frustrating. I don't mean to dunk on this guy. He seems nice, but you have an opportunity to shed light on something that I find very important, and you're blowing it.
Should be perceived. Like, what is the correct lens through which to understand Jay Shetty?
David, I want to be honest about that. Going back to my earlier point that I was saying is, I don't fault you for that skepticism and that thought process, because I've felt the same internally, right? So like, to be honest with you, it's like, I don't...
And the smiling is turning me off as well.
The reason why that's even interesting to hear for me is because I've had that conversation with myself. The paradox or the paradoxical nature of my journey is something I've had to live through. And I've had to reconcile.
He's had to live through it himself. The paradox of being a person who makes millions of dollars by preaching to have a simpler lifestyle and that money is not important. He's had to live through the paradox of that. And you just don't understand how hard it is. Jay Shetty out.
Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, practically. Like, it's something I'm wrestling with on a daily basis. And so when you say how I want to be seen,
yeah,
it's not even an...
Yeah, I don't... The smiling, it's giving Cheshire Cat. It's giving... what's the guy? The... Ding, ding, ding. American Psycho. What's going on?
Easy answer, because I'd say that I want to be seen as someone who is striving spiritually and striving entrepreneurially at the same time. Because I don't think that, I think both spirituality and success are not mutually exclusive. And even if they are, and that's what I discover at the end of my life, I'm open to that. But
yeah, we know you're open to it. As long as you can keep your mansion, you're fine with it.
I'm excited by the experiment and hypothesis of if it is possible. That experiment fascinates me and pulls me closer to it. And I'll tell you why I believe it's a worthy pursuit, is because the other choice is to say, okay, I think people can just be successful and not be spiritual. I don't know if you want to live in that world, David. I don't want to live in that world. I don't want to live in a world full of successful people who don't have deeply held...
You do live in that world, Jay. You do. We all do. Unfortunately, these people don't care about humanity. They've said it multiple times. They don't care. They care about the bottom line of their own pockets. You fit into that club. We already are living in a spiritually defunct wasteland.
values and have integrity and try and create a difference in the world and be of service and make an impact and do things that are valuable. I don't want to live in a world where people who are successful don't have those values. And I'm glad I get to pass that on and be the latest mailman for. And that's how I really see it. And so I think it's a bit of a weak argument because the alternatives are not ones that me or you would subscribe to either.
I realized I didn't.
He's trying to bring him in. This is another tactic of like, you don't want to live in that world either. You and I have the same beliefs. You and I feel the same way about this, which this guy has never said that he believes that you have to be a monk or you have to be an entrepreneur. He's never given his beliefs because he's the interviewer. But Jay is trying to say, you understand, you have the same ideas as me. It's a tactic to try to get this guy on his page. I see through you, Jay.
Asked this earlier. I think it's an important part of your story, but why did you stop training as a monk?
Yeah, it was one of the hardest points in my life because it sounds crazy to say this, but it was my dream while I was at college. And that wasn't because I lived a perfect life at college, at university, but it was like I'd made it kind of like this thing of like, I really hope I can do this after I graduate. And I was actually at one point thinking of quitting university and doing it then. And the monk teacher said to me, no, you should finish your education and do it after that, which I'm very grateful they did that. But it was one of the toughest things. I dreamed about it. I'd wanted it. I'd, really believed that was going to be my path. I really believed I was going to do it for the rest of my life, whether that it was me being naive or whether it was my youth enthusiasm, at 22 years of age. I really believed that.
He really I really wanted to be a monk. I just ended up a millionaire. My true dream was to be poor and just to live off the streets and teach people about spirituality, but I was forced into this mansion. Oh!
And
answer the question. Why did you leave being a monk?
So leaving wasn't easy. It was very difficult because I felt like I was failing. And that at that point in time was one of the heaviest things I was going through, because it felt like a divorce.
But was there a precipitating incident? Like, why did you make the decision to leave?
No. So the why was, it was extremely rough on my health. My health was taking a massive hit.
Which is ironic, right? He says, the most idealistic life is a monk's life. Now, he was doing that, and yet, so meditating all day is bad for your health? So what are we doing it for? Why are you the C something O of the Calm meditation app? So is being a monk bad for you? What? I don't get it. I'm going back, sorry.
Extremely rough on my health. My health was taking a massive hit.
Fasting
I'd spent time in hospital. Yeah, I'd spent time in hospital during my time in the monastery, both in India and the UK. And I was really I was struggling. I had polyps in my throat that had to be lasered out a year before I left. I had...
For what reason? Is this a common experience of people trying to be a monk so you have to quit to then become a liar? I don't get it.
Exhaustion, which was, some doctors said it was chronic fatigue. I was really I was emaciated. I weighed around, I want to get the metrics right, but I weighed around 60 kg, if that's right. I was really, really...
What's 60 kg? Tara, what's 60 kg? 132 pounds. Okay, skinny legend. Jay Shetty. Height. He's 5... Wow, they're getting specific with the heights. He's 5'8" and a quarter. What is his doctor posting this? We got to get the live results from the scale of height. 5'8". So he's actually pretty short. So 132. All right. It's not that emaciated. Skinny, but okay. Anyways.
Emaciated, and I'd lost a lot of...
I was going to say, it's not that crazy.
If that's right. I was really, really emaciated, and I'd lost a lot of weight.
So physically, you were struggling.
Physically, I was struggling, and so there was a massive health component that really really hit me hard. And I think what's really interesting is when your physical health goes, it affects your mental health and your emotional health even more. So partly what I'm expressing is feeling like a divorce.
So why would you write an entire book about how great it was to be a monk and why everyone in the world should think like you did when your health was literally failing and you were in the hospital because of your practices? It makes absolutely no sense. And I don't think he talks about that in the book. I have the book. I guess I could read it at some point. I don't think he talks about multiple hospitals. I never heard the throat thing before until this interview. So why would you keep that secret if that's part of the truth? The truth of the world, the truth of your experience. Why would you lie and keep that secret and be like, it was amazing, it was the best life-altering positive of my life?
Failure, I think, is also because my physical health was falling apart. The other side of it, funnily enough, at the same time was I genuinely deeply believed that all of that self-awareness made me realize I wasn't a monk. And maybe I don't have what it takes. And that realization, I mean, I left now it's been 13 years since I left. So I'm a bit distant from
13 years since he left. He said he's been with his wife, married for 10, with her for 13. So he immediately left being a monk and immediately started dating his wife. Something's fishy with that. Something's fishy in the monastery with that one.
that emotion now, but it still hit me. So that's like a collection of, I'm letting you in on all of it because it's not as easy to be like, there was this. It was like, there was health, there was my self-awareness through all the meditation, there was emotional weakness, mental weakness, understanding of who I was. It was a complicated time.
I don't mean to belabor this. I have one more question about sort of just one more about kind of like a tension. So, I understand that one of your larger goals is to I guess you could say bring people into the tent where they might encounter ideas that can help improve their lives. But sometimes is the way that you have to do that, can that feel a little bit funky for you? Because for example, the way you have to title your
Funky Monkey. I saw that somewhere. Someone commented that earlier, but he's bringing it up. Funky Monkey. Is it funky to be a monkey? A monk? Funky to be a monk? What do you think? Yes.
videos online, right? Just these are sort of algorithmic necessities and necessities for capturing people's attention. But they have titles like, attract anything you want, break free from your trauma, wake up completely different. Now, of course, you and I both know no one video can deliver on that promise. But I feel like your position is no, but that's how you get them in, and then we present them with information that can be helpful. But
I'm very comfortable lying, David.
Is there? Do you ever feel like it's a little? Yeah, I guess funky is the word that comes to mind for me. Do you ever feel a little funky about the fact that to get people in, maybe you have to kind of make these hyperbolic promises?
It's a great question. I think that
It's a loaded question. I don't like this guy's interview style. It is giving him, you're putting too much. Let him speak. That's what these people need to do, is answer a simple question, and don't give him the excuse where he can go, well, yeah, it's an algorithm and I have to do it and I just want to bring people into the tent. He's making the excuse for Jay Shetty. Let him answer it himself. Why do you try to simplify everything and make these outrageous claims like, watch this video and you'll change your life every day? And you've made 1,000 videos with the same title. Why is that lying to your audience?
Anyways, I love writing something like that and then almost debating the concept in my video. Like, for example, I debate this idea of manifestation. So I have many videos that have manifestation in the title. But as soon as it gets in there, I'm like, guys, there is no such thing as manifesting what you want simply by dreaming about it or writing, whatever it may be.
Of course, there's only woman festing, and it's only meant for women.
I'm actually breaking it down. And so sometimes I think it's a way of debunking myths. Sometimes it's a way of actually introducing people to new ideas. And I do agree with you that we live in a attention economy. We live in a space where we have to have the ability to help someone get through the door. That is really that is just the way the world works. It's just the way things are today. And to me,
if the promise and what's on the inside is valuable, that's actually also what will make people stay. So if it was simply just a title, the views and the transformation wouldn't be valid or value. It wouldn't happen.
Jay, I know.
And the same thing could be said for lying about his story. That if he told people that he was born and raised in this controversial religious sector and his parents were involved and he was involved, and through his childhood, he was doing it and then decided after college to get involved even more, and then went to a consultancy in London to work with Accenture and work for these companies and wanted to make money, and then got picked up by Ariana Huffington, who's got a new age wellness, interest. And that is not that exciting of a story. So he's like, oh, I became a monk and I lived there, and he just made it up so it sounds more exciting. He'll take people's quotes if it sounds good. He'll take anyone's story if it sounds good. So do you think he's got his own, that he's telling a real accurate depiction of his life? No. He's like he said, he's trying to be the king of the attention economy by any means necessary, and he's doing an amazing job at it. Keep going, buddy. Love it for you.
I've been sort of implicitly critical or skeptical of the idea of like quick hit fixes or easy answers. But what's one thing we can leave people with? Hopefully then your answer, we can clip it and put it on our socials. It'll go viral. But what's one... we have to put the right title on it too. But what's one piece of advice you want to give people here at the end of our conversation that you think could really help them?
Never dig deeper. Just stay at the surface and make sure to like and subscribe to jayshetty.com.
They go back to their lives.
He's cockney now. Here's my little baby eating her food. Look at that. He's pondering his answers. He's
Sorry, I'm taking
about...
my time because you've asked me such a big question, and I don't want to be,
Yeah, such a big question. What's the final thought of this interview? It's such a big loaded question, Daddy. It's so big, David. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm losing it.
I think as humans, we have this tendency to say, God, the last 5 years in that job were a waste of time. Now I found my path. Or, you know what, that relationship just wasted 3 years of my life, and I don't know if I'll ever find love again. And we have this habit of almost disregarding our experience, our lessons, our emotion, everything we've been through, and now saying we found it. And I would encourage people to reflect on those moments, to learn from them, to value them, no matter how difficult and painful they might be, and there'll be so much value in it. I don't think that clip's going to go viral or give you what you want, but it's something that's been on my heart and mind a lot.
Yeah, well, all I ever want is an honest answer. So thank you very much.
So I will go to bed tonight feeling like shit because I did not get it with Jay Shetty. Signing off. Okay.
And good luck with everything in the future.
David, you too. Thank you so much for your time and energy, and I hope our paths cross again.
No, he doesn't. He's going to fire his PR firm that he's hired. He's going to be like, do not make me go mainstream again. I will not do the New York Times again. I will only do the New York Daily Post from now on and the National Enquirer when I discover aliens. Oh, boy. Well, that's Jay Shetty. He's still staying, vague as hell. He's still pretending this all didn't happen. We can keep watching this. Maybe. It keeps going on, and then we'll just wrap it up.
Straight ceiling.
Life and time are the best two teachers. Life teaches us to make good use of time, and time teaches
I love how he puts his name on it too. Watermarks his own name on these old videos.
us the value of life.
By the Jay Shetty School of Writing, this is my cartoon character, Liza Sampson. Oh, Liza, your entire career is a lie. True.
Some of us have been in the crowd but felt lonely.
I watched this like it was Two Girls, One Cup.
All of us have been invited to a party, but wanted to leave. All of us have likes on social media, but don't feel loved in real life. So many of us can get comments on our posts, but can't get a friend to call us back.
Oh shit, you're caught.
Investing our money in experience rather than things. Spend time with.
If you read it, it becomes copyright free. It doesn't count as a copyright if you read it with feeling.
People who look more like your future than your past. Lonely is not being alone. It's the feeling that no one loves you. So start.
Oh, he changed that one. He changed that word, so that doesn't count.
By loving yourself.
Okay, right, yo.
And he puts written and performed. Taking away any plausible deniability that he's not a total scam artist.
I can't with this one. Now, memes are dope as fuck and should be shared. Ideas are recycled all the time. It's how we teach each other and learn. And Robin Williams famously accidentally said other comics bits on stage because his brain goes so fast and shit happens. But that's not what's happening here. Jay Shetty consistently steals other people's work and puts his name on it as the fucking author. Pretty shitty thing to do, actually. Ooh, this one.
Would you be if the world never gave you a label? Never gave you a box to check? Would you?
God, there was so much stuff like that. This is something I would honestly try to make in high school. This is the vibe I was into. Did you know 1 in 10 kids don't know where to go after school? Because they don't got things to do. And you're thinking about it. And then you go to NHS. That's the place to be. See you there. Tweety. I don't know. Okay.
Be white.
Just wipe that from your memory, everybody.
Black.
Don't fit inside the boxes, and we're perfectly okay with life outside the lines. We don't.
He just changed his voice. Wait, hold on. Sorry, I ruined that whole thing.
Ooh, this one.
Would you be if the world never gave you a label? Never gave you a box to check? Would you be white? Black.
Don't fit inside the boxes, and we're perfectly okay with life outside the lines. We don't want to live in boxes. I was living as a monk, literally meditating in caves. I'm not joking at all.
You did
in caves?
He says it like he went through something. Dude, you chose to sit in a cave. That sounds awesome. Batman would probably agree. If this were comedy, you'd be called out for stealing jokes, being a hack, and Joe Rogan would be jumping on stage at your next show because you, sir, are the Carlos Mencina of the spirituality motivational guru world. Bitch. His award-winning videos that Facebook Watch made go viral. Oh, that's how he got his views, by the way. Facebook started the Watch program and they put Jay in that program.
Yeah, that is, I don't know for sure. I've never seen the back end, analytics of Facebook, but there was views, astronomical amount of views, 20 comments, like 50 million views, and then like 30 comments. That is fake. And I used to have a Facebook account, or I have a Facebook account now, but like a Facebook page that I did journalism stuff on. And I got up to 30,000 likes, followers at one point. 99% of them were from India. So I feel like they were trying to push people's accounts. I didn't buy bots. This was all done through Facebook. They were trying to make it so that they could sell to advertisers. So look, it's been seen by this many people. There was a lot of fake shit going on back then and probably still now. Amy, thank you so much. As always, Amy LX8RN. Amy says, Betty needs financial support traveling Europe in her monk outfit while she writes books and courses to become a trillionaire. She takes Venmo and Zelle. Taro, can I get your Zelle? No? What about your Venmo? Venmeow. Can I get your Venmeow? Hold on. Hold that thought. Thank you. I'm here till 20 minutes from now.
I am not a medical authority, but...
Look out, medical medium's a cult.
No one's knocking on their door telling them to stop because there is no door.
Whoa. Betty, Betty, Betty. That's for you.
To show advertisers they should spend on Facebook Watch, they bumped his numbers up. Bumped it up. They didn't fake the views. They just put him in everybody's feed, even when they didn't follow him, so that those views would accumulate. I know, because that's how he ended up in mine. And then so they could keep showing Facebook Watch will make advertisers money, they put the algorithm in his favor. Everybody who likes his page gets to see his stuff. That does not happen for the rest of us. Facebook can totally do that if they want to. They were promoting their new show. It's like when Britney Spears' promotional team used to buy 1 million of her singles the night before it went out, so that by the time it went out, it was already a hit single. It wasn't lying, it was marketing. I just knew he was a liar. And there's only one other person in the whole world that when I met them, I was like, this is When I put out one post about this, I got so many messages from giant influencers being like, you stole my shit too. But other people are too scared to say anything because he has a lot of followers, and that's the problem with the world, isn't it? If we can't stand up to people who have perceived power when they're doing something wrong,
yeah, girl,
we're gonna end up with more Weinsteins. Because when you get away with lying consistently, you're up. And you know people are catching on because a couple...
Yeah, and also they call you a hater when you try to call it out, and they say that you're just jealous, and they say that you have a mustache, and they say that I'm catfishing in my thumbnails.
Weeks ago, Brendan Bouchard is legend in the speaker community.
Okay, well, we've been down that road.
He's like Aerosmith. He doesn't age and he sounds amazing every time. He commented on Jay's thing telling him to quote people too. I believe that's when he stole a quote from Paulo Coelho, the author of The Alchemist, worldwide bestseller. Dumb fuck. What's another weird thing is he said he was a monk and left the monkery to bring all of his thoughts to social media and help change the world. By his thoughts, I mean other people's thoughts with his name underneath it. He's a thought. He'll write any spiritual quote stick. There you go. I'm not saying he's not a monk, I'm just saying it was very difficult to find any evidence that he actually ever was, and I think he's lying. How has nobody realized that his famous monk photo is a hoodie and a scarf?
That is true.
That's American Apparel.
With a zipper, too. He was skinny, I will give him that. He wasn't lying about being skinny.
Namaste telling the truth. But why do I care? I'll tell you. Someone who can lie, like bold-faced lie like this, is a sinister mother. Posing as a spiritual guru while stealing everybody's work. No one's supposed to say anything when he's a plagiarist because he wore a hoodie and a scarf one time and shaved his head. Really? Well, I've been to meditation class too, and if you guys see me post someone else's work without quoting them, tell me, because I realize that people work their entire lives to build their material. And this motherfucker just swooped in and stole credit and money from everybody else's work. You steal from mine.
But the thing is, the problem is, you could put this on a billboard and say, here is this video has been out for many years. You could say, here's Jay Shetty stealing, here's Jay Shetty lying, here's whatever. And people will still go, well, it's really nice though. Like, at least he's spreading positivity. At least he's trying to help the world. It's like, and then there's no argument that could be won at that point. It's like, you know what? Yeah, sure. Okay. I guess everyone should just give their paycheck to Jay Shetty because he's trying to spread positivity. And it's like, so does everyone get a pass then if they're trying to spread positivity? It's just, I think it's an excuse and it's a deflection because they feel duped, or they might feel duped by this person, and they don't want to feel like they were deceived. You know, like, oh, I thought Jay Shetty was beautiful because he's got blue eyes, and I don't want to admit to myself that I was misled by somebody. So they'll just say, oh, it's not a big deal. No one cares. And then that's why these grifters continue to grift. And I guess we're actually, after all, we're to blame. Is it our fault that grifters grift? Maybe that is the key to all of this, is that we are responsible for everything wrong in this world. And we are the only ones that can fix it. Join my masterclass, Fixing Your Life, yo fool. You fool. Here are the tools to improve. Okay. I'm losing it tonight, and I'm gonna fight my demons in the bed. I only got 4 hours of sleep last night because I took a nap and I couldn't sleep after that. What? All right. Thank you for joining. That was Jay Shetty, the most vanilla interview possible. One moment of juicy hot goss and the rest just him lying once more. And stick around to see what else he comes up with his production company and Benny Blanco's farts. That's what's really going to bring us strangers together and help you facilitate conversations with your children and partner. Okay, I'm going to sing my song, and then I'm going to ding-dong ditch out of here, and then I'll be back next week, and we'll do this again, okay? Send your ideas to me on Instagram. Follow me there, please. I would greatly appreciate it. Here's my account, Kia's World YT for YouTube. And then also join us over on Reddit. And I'm going to continue. You can see Betty dressed up in her monk costume. And then you can also get the Soundbite Library, which has got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 15 or so. Here's like what you might also hear. Here's a great one. Here's a medical medium. Okay, now little Anthony's gonna get up. I haven't played this soundbite in a while. Talk to his grandma.
Everybody always makes brownies. They always have so much of that stuff.
Get to it. Okay, here it is. So now he's touching his grandma. Now this is going to be from the spirit. I just think it's funny because the little boy, medical medium is not litigious, but he likes to copyright strike, so I had to be very careful with this one. Boy, is so cute, little actor.
Say lung cancer.
Lung cancer.
I didn't even know what those words meant. Say it again. Say lung.
Lung.
Now say cancer.
Cancer.
Now say grandma has lung cancer.
Grandma has lung cancer.
So next time someone drinks celery juice in front of you, just know this man is nuts.
Got my celery juice right here. Gonna have to actually drink a little celery juice. Keep me going here.
So that's the type of stuff you're going to see on this Reddit. And please post your story ideas there and, join the community for me. Okay? Okay. Jay Shetty out. Hey. Jay Shetty's a fan of rap. So you know. I gotta clap back. Starry Nights. EXE. He's extreme. He's mean. And he is sometimes green. Rebel Ed Fuentes. Are you in the shed? With your with your lawnmower. Going zoom, zoom, zoom. On the grass. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Bone Palace Ballet 94. Are you zooming on the floor? Do you got a Mazda? Nicole Campbell? Or is that a Prada purse? Cause you are so rich. Leaf Madison. Are you mad at him? And who is him? Jay Shetty. Shetty, oh Betty. You're gonna be a monk. Woof, woof, woof. Shanna, Shanna, Shanna. You can also be a monk. Na, 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 na. That's how the chants go when you're in the flow. Hey, Consul. Do you want to go to a monastery with me on a vacation for free? Because we can lay on the floor. You might have to go to the hospital once or twice, maybe more. Merva Bell too. I got to call you my boo thing. We haven't checked in with him in a while. That's Kez. He always makes me smile. Just kidding. He's mean, I think. Gracie Charlie Loves Cats is not mean. I know, for show. If you love cats, then you love everyone on the earth. Duh. Alaska Blood Tundra, thank you for the memberships. Everyone is over the moon excited. And they're swooning for you. And they are in a good mood because of you. That's amazing. Thank you. Hannah, I'm gonna go bonanza because I have to go to sleep. I'm very tired because I didn't sleep a lot last night and it was raining and my nose was stuffy. Hey, stuffy nose brigade. Liam Massey. Let's get nasty in this club. You heard the word. Jay Shetty steals quotes. He's changed his ways, but he never actually changed. He sounds like a politician. I agree. He should go for governor or mayory. I love Harper. Would you vote for me or would you vote for Jay Shetty? You only have one vote. And if you don't vote, I will sink you in a boat. In the ocean. Healing Relat. Right off the bat, that is a cool name, but it isn't complete. I think there needs to be something more on the sheet. Oh! Drink your celery though. But don't put a lemon in it or it won't work. That's what medical medium says. Now twerk, 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 twerk. Rabba Gabor. Twerk, twerk, twerk some more. And we're gonna twerk on Jay Shetty's podcast. He's open to all types of guests. So twerk alert, it's time to go on his podcast and shine. Maya Sloan. Leave me alone! Just kidding. Never do that. Always come back and smack it. Yak. Okay. Good night, everybody.